Hey, this is Rabbi Shmuel Pollan. It's great to have you with me. I normally promote the All In for God book, but today I'm promoting my new product. You got to go to theoccultsecret.com. Theoccultsecret.com. I'll leave a link in the description box. And this video is going to be a second part to positive self talk. We spoke about self talk in the last episode. And I will remind you that we have three major faculties: thought, speech, and action. And your entire life is going to be determined by those three faculties. And I'm going to say today that it's actually controlled by just one: the thought. Your life is controlled by your thoughts because what you think directly decides how you feel. However you feel right now, it's because of the thought going through your head right now. And the next moment, it's the next thought, and the next moment, it's the next thought. Every single thought has a feeling attached to it. It comes with a feeling. So how you feel, whether you're stressed or whether you're having depression, whether you're having anxiety, certain kinds of depression need medication and they can't be dealt with in this way. But most people's depression can be dealt with in this way, and you can change your thoughts and then change your feelings and change your life. You will act how you feel. So thought is like this playing field. So it controls your actions as well, because you're going to speak how you feel. You're going to act how you feel, and it's all controlled by your thought. So it all comes back to your thought. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the next few weeks or months. Is just the thought, because thought is like this playing field, and right now there's only one team playing, and it's the bad team, and they're walking all over you. And people often say, like I had one psychiatrist say to me, stay out of your thoughts. It's a bad neighborhood and you're going to get mugged. So it's a bad neighborhood and we aren't really playing in that field. We aren't trying to consciously, actively take control over our thoughts. And what we want to do to have the life that we want is to reclaim that territory, reclaim the territory of your thoughts. This is called metacognition, to think about what you're thinking. That's what we're doing right now. And the strategy that I propose is that we're going to accept the first thought that comes to us, which will guarantee to be a negative thought. That's what's happening to us most of the time. We just get lucky when we're happy. We're not taking active control over our happiness. We're getting lucky. God is giving us a break. He's giving us a break from those negative thoughts. But really, those negative thoughts are running roughshod over all of us. And we're not taking conscious control. We're not fighting the battle. We're not taking over any territory. They have all the territory. It's a bad neighborhood. And so we're going to accept the first thought, which will be bad. And then we're going to challenge it. We're going to come up with our own thoughts. 1, 2, 3, 8 thoughts, positive thoughts, until the negative thought is run out of town. Once you have so much light, nobody wants that little bit of darkness left. So we're totally done with that darkness. That first negative thought is just out of there, and we've reclaimed our territory, and we're now in control of our thoughts. The result is your thoughts are completely in your control. Everybody's trying to control their thoughts through meditation and other means, mantras. Your thoughts will be under your control if you employ this tactic that I'm teaching you now. Your happiness will be completely under your control. You want to be happy? You think happy thoughts. You will be happy. If you want to get out of stress, think loving thoughts, and you will be loving. You will not be stressed. The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidic philosophy, says, whatever you think, that's where you are. Your whole life is based on your next thought, the thought that you're having right now. And we're going to make sure that we have the ammunition. I'm going to give you the ammunition to be able to go through your life and challenge these negative thoughts and impose forcefully positive thoughts upon the situation and take over the situation with positivity. And then you'll have no more stress, no more anxiety, no more depression, and you will think loving thoughts if that's what you want to think. It will be completely in your control. We can talk later about what to think when you have your thoughts under your control. But for now, we're trying to get them under your control. So I'm going to give you examples of what I call running self-talk. This is self-talk that you're doing while you're at work, while you're driving, while you're doing your day. You can do this running self-talk. You can be self-talking to yourself about the negative thoughts that are happening in your head, in your mind, and you will control your thoughts. This will give you total mastery over your mind, and then you'll be able to feel anything, and then you'll be able to do anything. Once you have the feeling that you can do something, you will be able to do it, and you will start getting results. Your whole life will change. So let's go through different situations that we run into, and let's talk about the negative thought and what would be the positive thought to combat it. And let's first talk about the situation that we all run into all of the time, which is the red light. We always run into a red light. And here's where I start to talk about your patience muscles. I call them patience muscles. And these are the muscles that you need to flex. These are the muscles that you need to work out. Because if you work them out, you can be better at patience. And you're going to want to learn patience because it's going to help you in so many other ways in your life. So this is what you're thinking. Thank you, red light. Thank you, because this is going to help me when I'm waiting behind the guy who's filling up the coffee for the coffee machine, when I'm waiting for my blood test, when I'm waiting to get my piece of the birthday cake. In all these situations, it will require patience, and I have patience muscles. There are mental and probably in your brain muscles that are being used when you're being patient, being able to sit still through a class, to be able to enjoy a class and really understand what's going on. All of this requires patience, and patience requires practice, and a red light is an opportunity for practice of your patience muscles. Let's look at how patience has changed history. We know that for the Jews in the desert, they were supposed to wait 40 days for Moses to come back from Mount Sinai. And then when it came the 40th day, they actually miscalculated about which day he was going to come back. And Satan showed them Moses in a coffin at the top of the mountain floating in the sky. And they thought Moses is dead. And they went and worshiped the golden calf. Had they had patience, had they waited one more day, they would have seen Moses come down, and they would have been reunited with him, and they wouldn't have sinned with the golden calf, which caused a tremendous plague and changed history. The Jews were supposed to have 70 years of exile in the biblical times of Esther, and they couldn't wait until the second temple was going to be rebuilt, and they joined in Ahasuerus. Ahasuerus was the king at the time of Persia, and they joined in his non-Jewish feast, and that led to the decree against the Jews that they should all be killed at the hands of Haman, at the hands of Haman, and the Jews worshiped their idols, and all that led to the decree. And Joseph had tremendous patience. He was in jail for, I'm not sure, 12 years. It was over 10 years that he was in jail, and he was thrown in a pit by his brothers, and he went through unbelievably excruciating situations, and he had patience in 12 years, and then he eventually got out because he was able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams. And then he had patience against Potiphar's wife, who was trying to seduce him. The head of the household his wife was trying to seduce Joseph, and Joseph was able to hold out, and he got his name on the golden breastplate in the holy temple worn by the high priest. And had he slept with her, he would not have had that honor. So he had an honor that lasts forever because he was patient and didn't go after Potiphar's wife. All of this is because of patience. Patience is the most important quality out there. What about another situation where things are going haywire? It's like you could call it a shit fest, excuse my language. But when all 8 things are going wrong at once. So it happened to me. My cell phone's dying. I've got no charger. The cell phone won't charge. The cell phone is broken. It will cost $150 to get a new phone, which I don't have right now. I'm lost in my car. I don't know if I'll ever be found. I'm late to pick up my kids. And the response that I had was that this is my time to shine. I smiled because I'm juggling 8 balls and I am a juggler. And if this happens to you, that means God believes that you are a juggler. God gives you as many balls as you can handle. And the fact that I got 8 means that I'm on level 8, that I can juggle 8 balls. And I'm so glad that I am on level 8. I'm privileged to have this situation happen to me, and I can't wait for level 10. I go to my ex's house, and the basement is dirty, and my original thought is, what a slob, and this is terrible. And my positive thought is that this gives me a chance to clean. This mess is like a puzzle. The puzzle is all messed up pieces. They're all jumbled up and they make no sense. And then you take each one and you put it in its proper place and you make a puzzle. And you enjoy making puzzles. So why don't you enjoy cleaning in the same way? Cleaning is the same thing. It's taking a puzzle and putting all the pieces back together in the same way. So I actually had a good time watching this come together. I actually do this. I want you to know I do this every single day, every single minute of every day. I challenge my negative thoughts until they are gone. And eventually this becomes default. Default, I'm happy now. Default, I'm not stressed. Default, I don't have anxiety because I've been thinking these positive thoughts so much. It becomes my brain just says, oh, obviously there's some positive thought here, even if I can't specifically think of one. I'm cutting grass and I'm thinking, this is so annoying. This is so boring. But then I think of Hasidic philosophy and I think that each blade of grass has a unique purpose. And by trimming it, I'm bringing each blade of grass to completion. So every single mow of the lawn, I'm fixing up the world. Let's say a vase breaks. Let's say a vase breaks. Well, that means by the fact that it broke, it means that its job is done, or else it wouldn't have broke, because there's a God in the world, and if he determines that it's time for this to break, that means its work is done. So we're actually happy when Hasidic Jews say Mazel Tov, which is like congratulations, for the fact that that vessel has reached its completion. And if you are not doing anything significant today, well, that's what I was thinking. I'm not doing anything significant today, but I was watching my kids. And watching kids is the most significant thing that I could be doing. I have the future entrusted in my hands. If something bad happens, and you can't think of any of Shmuel Pollan's positive thoughts, you can always just think that it could have been worse, because it could have been worse. God had mercy on you. He wants to test you. He wants to lift you up. He wants to make you work harder. He could have made it even harder than it is. So you can always think as a default thought that it could have been worse. I'm grateful that it is what it is. This one came from my daughter. Her art piece didn't come out the way she had expected, the way that she had hoped. And I asked her, what's the positive thought in that situation? And she said the positive thought is that there's nothing wrong in art. Art is art. It's what comes from inside you out onto the canvas. And somebody might really like that change. Somebody might find that very artistic, the way that that came out. There's nothing wrong in art. And that's a thought that you can use for everything that happens to you in your life. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look like the way you want it. It's not the way you want it to be. Well, it's art. It is all God's art. So there's nothing wrong with anything in the world because it is art. Driving. This is a tricky one. Should you say, I'm a good driver to yourself? Or should you say, I'm a bad driver to yourself? If you say, I'm a good driver, you could be overconfident and you cannot take the proper precautions. If you say, I'm a bad driver, you could be overly cautious. And even being overly cautious can sometimes be unsafe as well. You want to be able to, be up to beat with the other cars. So what you have to say to yourself, I think, is this: I'm as good as my last drive. I'm as good as my last drive. That way, you're always going to be not too confident, not too unconfident, and you're going to drive the very best that you possibly can. That should be your goal. You're in the mall. I'm in the mall. And you go to the wrong door and you don't know if you'll ever find the exit. Well, that's a treasure hunt. What fun. That's what I think to myself. Walking to the car, having trouble finding the car, typical situation that happens to all of us. It's a test of patience. Go back to the patience muscles. We're working out that muscle, and it's a game of hide and go seek. I have a chandelier over here, and I hit my head on it once when I was coming towards my seat. And I think to myself, I'm glad that my pain sensors are working, or I'd really hurt myself. If you couldn't feel any pain, you would probably just cut your hand off, no problem. You wouldn't have any problem doing it because you wouldn't feel any pain. So thank God there is pain to keep myself from hurting myself and putting myself in situations where other people can hurt me. Going to do a barbecue, wondering if I'll do a good job. I come back to my trusty mantra, I can do anything. Fill your head with I can do anything, I can do anything. And every time you say it, every time you say I can do anything, you will feel a bit of I can do anything and you will behave in that way. So if you want to do a good job with the barbecue, that's the thoughts that you want to have. Um, with that mantra, suddenly I'm back in the saddle. And this has been 15 minutes, but we could go on for 15 hours because there's so many thoughts we have during the day, and we need to have coaching. We need to have this is what a therapist does, but I'm teaching you in a more advanced way to be able to do it every second, every moment of the day. And if you have a negative thought that's been perturbing you, please post it in the comments below. And I would like to hear it. And everyone else and myself can together come up with the positive resolution of that issue, come up with the positive thoughts, 1, 2, or 8, to drive that negativity out of the playing field and control your mind, which will control your feelings, which will control your speech and your actions. And you will be able to create your dream life because of the way you think. Think like this, and you'll feel this way, and you'll do this way, and you'll get results the way that you want them to be. Your outer life will become the life that you want. But let's do it in stages. Let's control the thoughts, let's control the speech, the feelings, and the actions, and it will all come together in a beautiful life. And I hope that you all dedicate your lives to God because He's the one who gives you life to begin with. We didn't come from evolution. We didn't come here by accident. We didn't come here by random mutations. That's absolutely ridiculous and impossible. We're way too well fashioned. We are way too complex for that to have happened in a random way. So it's not random. We are here from God. So let's live the lives the best way that we possibly can and dedicate that life to God's purpose, which is for us to make this world a dwelling place for God here in the lowest realm. God bless.